Hey guys, in 7-1, we're learning about ratios and proportions. So we're going back into a little bit of algebra. In chapter 6, we were doing a lot of geometry, so we're going to be getting back into it. First of all, we need to know that a ratio is a comparison of two quantities by division. Okay? So I'm going to say it one more time, write this down. A ratio is a comparison of two quantities by division. Okay, ratios can actually be written in multiple ways. Okay, you don't have to write this down, but write this down. One way you can write them is like this. This is a ratio. This is also a ratio. Sometimes they say 90 to 3. This is also a ratio. Okay. Also, we should know that ratios that have the same comparison are equivalent ratios. Okay, for instance, 7 to 5 and 28 to 20, these are equivalent because you can multiply 7 times 4 and 5 times 20, and you'll get 28 and 20. So these are actually equivalent ratios, meaning they're the same ratio. Okay, so ratio is a comparison of two quantities by division. Here's our first example problem. It's example 1. Write this in your notes. It says find two ratios that are equivalent to each given ratio. So for letter A, we want to find a ratio, two of them, that's equivalent to 6/8. There's multiple ways you can find equivalent ratios. One way is by multiplying, and another way is by division. Now, division doesn't always work, but sometimes it will. So one way we can find equivalent ratios of 6/8 is by multiplying. To find an equivalent ratio, we have to multiply the top and bottom by the same number. So I'm going to multiply by 2 over 2, and we are going to get 12 over 16. This is an equivalent ratio. Another way we can get an equivalent ratio, because we need 2, is I can see that 6 and 8 are both divisible by 2 over 2, and we're going to get 3/4. This is also an equivalent ratio. So you can find equivalent ratio by multiplication or by division. Okay? 48 over 27. Again, one ratio. A common ratio we can find is just multiply it by the same number. I'm going to multiply it by 2 over 2. And we're going to get 96 over 54. That's an equivalent ratio because we're multiplying the top and bottom by the same number. We can also find it by doing division. And we can divide by 3 over 3. And we'll get 16 over 9, and that's also equivalent ratio. There can be more than one. I can multiply by 3, I can multiply by 4. There's multiple ways to find equivalent ratios. Now, ratios that are equivalent are said to be proportional or in proportion. I want you guys to write this down. Ratios that are equivalent are said to be proportional or in proportion. Equivalent ratios are identical when they are written in simplest form. Okay, so ratios that are equivalent are said to be proportional or in proportion. So let's say you have two ratios. If those two ratios are equivalent, then they're proportional. Okay, so and we'll see a couple examples. So look at example 2. We want to see, are these two ratios for letter A proportional? Meaning if these two are if 7/21 and 2/6 are equivalent, then they would be proportional. In order to find out if these are proportional, we need to figure out what they are in simplest terms. Okay, so we have to make 7/21 and 2/6 and put them into simplest terms in order to figure out what are if it is a proportion. Okay, So let's first try to simplify 7 over 21. What's a number that both 7 and 21 go into? Well, 7 can only go into 7, and I know that 7 also goes into 21. So 7 divided by 7 gets us 1, and 21 divided by 7 gets us 3. So that's one ratio. Now 2/6, we want to see, can we divide 2/6 and simplify it? Well, I know I can divide by 2 over 2. 2 divided by 2 gets us 1, and 6 divided by 2 gets us 3. So we have 1/3 and 1/3. Since the ratios are equivalent, this is a proportion. Okay? I'm going to just abbreviate it. Now the next one is 9/12 and 16/24. So I have to figure out what the simplest form of these two are. Well, I know for 9/12 I can divide by 3 over 3. 9 divided by 3 gets us 3, and 12 divided by 3 is 4. This is the simplest form. I can't simplify anymore. And then 16 over 24, there's multiple ways I can simplify this. I'm going to divide it by 8. 16 divided by 8 is 2, and 8 divided by 24 divided by 8 is 3. These two are not the same, so these are not proportional. Okay? So proportional numbers are only when both ratios in simplest forms are the same. Okay? Only when both numbers in simplest form are the same, then it would be a ratio. Alright guys, make sure you guys are doing 7.1 exit slip online, and please make sure that you submit it. Let's really be good with doing our notes and also doing our exit slips before we get to school. Okay, I will be doing homework or note checks this chapter, so be ready. It might happen at any time. Alright guys, see you tomorrow.